Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back with rootsofhealing.org. That's the website. And Tina Wankey is, of course, founder and owner. And we're excited to have her back here as our professional of the year to talk more about the work she does to help people reclaim their power over health. First and foremost, welcome back. How are you today?
I am doing well.
Yay. How's the weather where you are?
It is cloudy, going to be very rainy soon.
Oh, yeah, same here. Same here in the New York area. All right. Let's first and foremost have you introduce yourself. I know you offer so many different things. Would you mind just giving us a brief overview as to what you do?
Yes. So I am a holistic therapist and wellness coach. So I address people in looking at their health, both physically and emotionally, trying to get to the root of the issue of what's going on by utilizing a number of different modalities to help address whatever the issue may be happening in their lives. So a more personalized approach is what I take.
Perfect. And for today, what did you want to discuss? I'm still waiting on your notes to come in.
Yeah. So what I want to discuss is I really want to talk about like burning out from too much care for others. Like so many times we put other people first so much that we're not taking care of ourselves. So I want to talk about that topic and just, to let people know that it's okay that you feel that way and then how to address and correct how that is feeling for you and what you can do to help create a better balance in your life.
Balance. So it's about
Yes.
balance today.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's get
Yes.
started. And by the way, I still haven't received your notes, but I got the station to send them over. So maybe we got the email address wrong. It happens. It happens. But I do have the episode 8 in front of me now, reclaiming power over your health. So again,
Okay.
women burning out from too much care for others and not enough for ourselves. Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
And do you have the notes in front of
I
you?
do. I
They
do.
are.
So you say
They do.
sometimes caring isn't all it's cracked up to be, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit
Yep.
about that.
Okay. All right. So basically, um, it's we can care about other people and it's good that we care about other people. But what happens is sometimes we get so wrapped up in caring for other people that we're always caring for other people, putting their needs first and not putting ourselves first or limiting how much we're putting ourselves first because we
Yeah.
need to have a balance. And I think there's both men and women that can feel this way depending on what your roles are and job wise and everything, how your relationships are. We can almost be always expected to be attending to other people all the time, and then we start to forget about ourselves. We might be able to do it for a while, but then eventually it might cause us to start burning out and having other symptoms that can flare up in the body, both mentally, physically. So I really want to talk about taking care of yourself and how it happens, like how it leads up to that.
Got it.
Because I really do think that there's always good intention. We want to take care of other people. We want to help people. We want to be polite and respectful, and we might start finding ourselves doing that more and more often. So we might be like, oh, I had this plan, but they need this. So I'm going to help them. And that's okay. But sometimes we got to learn how to say no. And I think sometimes that's where we get tripped up is we're not saying no enough. So we really got to make sure we're keeping a balance in our lives. So whether you're a person who is at a spot where maybe you're starting to find yourself doing this a little more often, or you've been doing this and you're just like, I'm getting sick of doing this. I'm always putting everybody else first. My needs are always coming last, and I'm not getting time in, and I'm feeling resentful and irritated, and I'm just not happy with this anymore. So wherever you are on the spectrum, if it's earlier, then catch it earlier. So you're creating more of that balance. And even if it's later on where you're just at that fed up stage, then creating that balance for yourself, creating what's going to be a good balance, because So we can't get rid of all our responsibilities. We
No.
can't, we have people in our lives. We have our family, friends, work, there's social gatherings. I mean, there's so many different things we have responsibilities to, but it's figuring out the balance,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and people struggle with that. I've struggled with it. That's why, I started finding myself getting to that spot where, okay, this is not good, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
finding myself saying, when do I get to come first?
What about me?
You know,
Mm-hmm.
when do I get to actually focus on me and be able to do things that I want to do and take care of myself?
Oh my goodness. I feel the same way with my kids and
Yeah.
the three of us, and I just never do. And I'm like, it's wearing me out, and I'm gonna hit a boiling point soon.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
why do we feel this need to focus so much on others and put ourselves last? Could you share? Do you know the answer to that?
Yeah. So there can be many things that can lead to that. And it can be like just literally like how we're born. Is it,
Mm-hmm.
innately, astrologically, spiritually, human design wise, whatever, however you look at things, it can just be born in us that we're just that caretaker type of person. And if we are that person, then, it's good because we care for other people, not a bad thing, but it's getting that balance in there. So it can be, just we're just born naturally with that skill to
Yeah.
want to help and take care of others. And it
Uh,
can also be environmentally. So what type of beliefs did our parents instill in us? Did they instill in us that we're always supposed to be attentive to everybody else's needs, and our needs don't matter? Like, was there a message that was sent there? Was there a message at their school? What did the teachers say? Because we can hear something and take it in. It can be planted so deep that it just sticks with us forever, that's the belief that we have to have. Like, you this person comes first, or you attend to this and do this first. Your feelings don't matter.
yeah.
Those type of things can happen. There might be certain gender roles that come into play, that of expectations, that the woman in the house is supposed to take care of everybody else. It can be those old fashioned roles that are coming into place that may have been instilled when we were kids. In relationships, it could be friendships, it could be when we're, younger, teens, adults, our relationships that we have, whether it is our personal relationships, friendships, or work relationships. And then we can get instilled in us those beliefs planted that we have to put other people first. Everybody else's needs come first. Like, let's say you're at work and you're getting ready to leave, and it always seems like by the end of the day, when you're ready to go home and, just relax and do your own thing, then something else gets thrown on your desk and you have to take care of that first, no matter what. It has to get done. You can't leave until it's done. Or, our kids, we have to take care of our kids, obviously, and want to take care of them. But when we have kids, then we have additional responsibilities. And
Yeah.
then we may be doing extra running around, getting them to their after school events, things of that nature. So then we're, putting our stuff aside or adjusting our schedule,
Got it.
adjusting our work schedules to fit our needs with our kids. I went into private practice. That was part of the reason why I did that, because my daughter was younger and at a spot where, oh, I have enough space where she can come to work with me for some hours. She had a whole kitchen, a whole play area. It was just like a second house. And like, we adjust things to make things work in our lives. And we can just get so focused on that and so wrapped up into that again, we're putting ourselves second and not
Yeah.
creating that balance.
Got it. Well, let
Yeah.
me ask, you say there could be resentment that occurs, right? You
Yeah.
say when you focus too much on
Yep.
putting others' needs first. Could you share about this? You say low-lying or prominent
Yeah.
feeling of resentment.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So resentment. So when over time, if you're letting things you continue where you're putting other people first consistently, constantly, just everyone else's needs are coming before yours, you can develop some resentment towards people or just in general, because it's like, I'm always putting them first. Why do they always need something? Or like it seems like every time I'm ready to go on a vacation, take time off,
Yeah.
something happens, and then I got to deal with that situation. So there can be that resentment that starts to build up. And that
Yeah.
really is happening when you've let it go too long. It's happened for way too long. And that could be a very good clue that you need to start creating better balance in your life of your needs and other people's needs.
Ooh.
So you're really getting to that exhaustion stage at that point when you're really hitting that resentment because you're getting angry about it. You're getting frustrated because it's happened too many times.
Yeah. Wow. Well, how can we break these beliefs and
Yeah.
start the process of putting ourselves first?
Yep. Yeah. So we need to break those beliefs and we need to get our mind to understand that we're worthy, that we can say no, and that we deserve to put ourselves first. Because first off, if we don't, health issues can happen and it can show up as anxiety, as depression, sadness, panic attacks. On the physical side, it could end up being such things like digestive issues, IBS, burning out, like literally burning your adrenals out from the stress aspect. And then even cancer is something that can pop up. And it was interesting because I had a stage 0 precancerous melanoma on my lower back and on the hip. And it was funny because when you look up where that area is, like energetically, it was all about taking on too much of a caretaker role and not paying attention and taking care of myself enough. So I was like, wow, that kind of fits. So I thought it was interesting. So we really want to make sure that we're breaking those beliefs and understanding that we need to find that balance. So when we're looking to find that balance, we need to assess like, what do we have to attend to versus are there things that we can easily say no to and remove from our schedule.
Got it.
So yeah, so I think that's like a first step is just looking at, is there anything we can get rid of? Because if you can get rid of some extra responsibilities that you don't need to be attending to, and that could even be like, are you on some committees that maybe you can take a break from?
Yes.
Are there, extra activities that you're doing that you just need to take a break from and rest from for a while?
Got it.
Yeah. And then it's looking at, okay, is the responsibilities we do have, then looking and assessing those responsibilities. And is there any wiggle room or help that can be sought out to help assist with getting that balance back in your life?
Well, that's where you come in.
Yes.
Tina
Yep.
Wankey, remind us how we can contact you before we continue.
Yes.
Perfect segue here.
Yeah, so you can reach me at my website, rootsofhealing.org, and there is a form that you can fill out on the bottom, and I will get in contact with you once I receive that message. Or you can call me at 920-277-6738.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And also with Roots of Healing, I just think it's also important to establish the work you're doing. The
Yes.
EMDR, you have the 90-day challenge, you do wellness coaching, you do Reiki, tuning forks.
Yes.
There's a lot that you could do,
Oh, yeah.
different modalities to help people. So
Yeah.
it's not just a one size fits all type of plan,
Right.
which I think is important. Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
What else are we
Yeah.
talking about today?
Yes. So when it comes to those beliefs, so, identifying, what you can change, like what you can eliminate from your schedule, and then figuring out what you need to see if you can seek out additional help, like a spouse maybe helping out a little bit more, or maybe taking turns with another parent in picking up, dropping off, things like that when it comes to the kids' activities. And then, we got to, just figure out how we can create better balance in that sense of time wise. But
Mm-hmm.
the beliefs is the part that we got to work on too, because we have to break that belief that we have to always do for others and not for ourselves, and get us to a point where we understand and know that we're worthy to have that time to ourselves, to put ourselves first, that we don't always have
Yeah.
to put ourselves last.
Mm.
So that comes into the modalities
Yeah.
and really figuring out, okay, what's going to be the one that's going to work for you. So we need to find out some things first. And one of the big things is having all these things going on and you not putting yourself first at times. Is it a distraction because you don't want to deal with something that actually is going on that needs to be dealt with? Because we can be great at creating distractions in our lives and not dealing with the real issue. So if something like that's going on, then it's diving into that part, which also ties into changing that belief that you're into worthy of having, your own time, putting yourself first and being able to say no.
Yep.
So we can look at that hypnotherapy. That hypnotherapy will allow us to get to the root reason, like, why are you not putting yourself first? Identifying what that is, because it might be something that you don't recall that was like a trigger from childhood or something. It might be something someone said, at work, or a friend that started creating that belief you have to put other people first before yourself. So we can take and identify what that
Mm-hmm.
is and neutralize it out in a hypnotherapy session, that you don't need to feel that way anymore. You can feel worthy. You can put yourself first. It's not selfish to do that, because
I
so
love
many people
hearing
think
that.
it's selfish,
I
and it's
love
not.
hearing this. I love it. That's exactly what I say. It's self-care, not being selfish, but
Right.
other people want to judge, and sometimes it's a fine line between that. I have this issue with my sister. The one thing that makes me feel good, and I don't do much. I have two kids. I raise them. I work hard. I want to get my nails done every 2 months, not even, right? And
Mhm.
it's like, "Oh, I'm not watching the kids. That's, I don't get my nails done at night." I'm like, that's okay. You don't, but this is the one thing I do to feel good. And I wait
Yeah.
2 months. I said, but could you watch the kids? So it's something we always disagreed on. She's always telling me I'm
Mhm.
like selfish. Well, if you don't have the time, you should just stay home with the kid. And I'm like, okay, done with this conversation. But a lot of people also
Right.
judge and make you feel like
Yeah.
you're doing something wrong. What
Right.
would you say to the people out there like myself who feel like they're naysayers and it affects you? You
Yeah.
have to stop, tell me what I should do. Just not let it
Yeah.
bother me. It does. How do
Right.
you fix that?
Right. Well, I think one thing to think about is, why is she saying that? Like, where is she coming from that she's saying that? Because maybe she's not taking enough time for herself.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she's coming from the same space,
Yeah,
so then she's just like, well, if I don't get the time, why should you get the time?
exactly. And that's so childish. She's almost 50 and I'm 46. I'm like,
Yeah.
really?
But we need, because it's not selfish, but it can be so ingrained in our brains that it is selfish to take time for ourselves, that people will see that they won't see how important it is until they start to understand that. And then those naysayers will just keep poking and prodding and planting those seeds, trying to make you feel guilty for wanting to take time for yourself. But
Yeah.
it can just be saying, it's important to take time for ourselves. Do you take time for, asking the question back? What do you do for self-care? What do you do to take care of yourself and to put yourself first?
And
And
she says,
see,
I don't have time. I don't do anything. I'm like, that's not my fault. I'm in the same boat, but I'm trying to make it. But why should
right,
I be miserable if you're miserable? I'm trying not to be
right.
miserable.
Well, you can even bring into there, well, why don't we do this together? You need time, I need time. Let's figure out how we can make this work, and support each other as sisters. And hopefully she will buy into that, but she still might come back, depending
Hmm.
on how her personality is and everything.
It's so true. Ah,
So yeah, so then if they're doing that, then they're where they're at. And it is truly just trying to just remember that, like, she's where she's at, and she's not in the same space that I am.
yeah,
And then just trying to ignore the statements that are said, because if she's not going to listen, she's not going to listen.
got
She's
it.
just not in that space, unfortunately.
All right. So I know we have to talk about balancing out our needs with versus others, like we're kind of going into. And
Yep.
what else did you want to add? I want to make sure we're
Yeah.
covering everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So keeping that balance. So sometimes it is, like talking about family. Sometimes do have to reduce some of those interactions that we
Yep.
have. If they are negative people in our lives, unfortunately, we sometimes have to at least limit how much interaction we have with them. If they're really hitting us in a sore spot and it's really impacting us, we just might need to take a step back from them, not having as much interaction if they're not willing to hear and listen to where we're at, and that comes in place with our friends and even at work. Sometimes we have to reassess our jobs. Like, is this where I want to be? Is this what I want to be doing? Or is this burning me out? Is it, like if I'm not happy with it, how is that doing good self-care? If we're not happy with what we're doing, that's just stressing us out. So setting up boundaries, being able to say no and to set those boundaries as to how those interactions are going to be, changing our situation, our environment if we need to make it more feasible. And when it comes to saying no, we got to practice it because it can be so hard to say no and set those boundaries. And it can be a little anxiety provoking when you do say no, but then also know that you're doing something good for yourself and feel good about that. Own that and don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
But that can take time. It can take time to really allow that to start feeling more comfortable, because it can be uncomfortable stepping outside of our typical habits that we've been doing, or it can be uncomfortable. So you just got to practice it, keep doing it until it starts feeling more comfortable.
Got it.
So then another thing that we can do is, as we're setting boundaries, as we're doing things to help us improve, doing hypnotherapy is great. We can do tuning forks to help clear out any negative energy or beliefs that are staying stuck. We can incorporate that. And then we always have to come back to rechecks. Check in and see, am I setting up good boundaries? Am I in a good place? Because we need to make sure that we're keeping ourselves in a good place and not slipping backwards. So just, reassessing where we're at and making sure that we put ourselves in a good place to create that balance. Because when we're in a good place and we're taking care of ourselves, we can be better at taking care of those in our lives that we do need to attend to. So it just overall creates a good balance for ourselves and for those people that are in our lives.
Thank you for this. Refreshing to hear. Yeah, you say ultimately, you say we people in our lives matter, and so do we. So take a
Yep.
look at how balancing is occurring, not occurring in your life to help determine if you need. Can you say that, Rick? I'm not following it. I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I think I corrected it in my notes, and I realized
Oh,
I
okay,
did not
okay.
have it right in the notes that I sent. So it's taking a look at whether balance is occurring or not occurring in your life to help determine if you need to add more no's into your life, if you're doing too much. So just making sure, are you feeling like you're taking care of yourself enough, putting yourself first when you need to, and feeling a balance with those people that you do have to care for and take care of and attend to, whether it's personal, like family, if it's work, whatever it may be, friends, anything like that. It should feel like there's a balance, a give and take, because we need to take care of ourselves, but also take care of other people. So when it's feeling out of balance and it's feeling like, why am I not getting my time? Well, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling like others are getting everything. If all those negative beliefs, thoughts are popping up, then we need to reassess. Okay, where am I at? Is there more no's I need to add into my life?
Oh, well, thank you for that and explaining that fully. Now, let's we got to kind of, oh my gosh, we're out of time. We have 2 minutes left. We
Yes.
kind of have to summarize everything. Go ahead.
Okay. So basically, yeah. So keep yourself in balance. Check and see, do I need to start saying more no's? Do I need to start, assessing what I need to say yes to and what I need to say no to? How can I create better balance? Are there people who might be able to help out? Do I need to change things in my environment? Do I need to instill more boundaries? Because that's when we get stuck, is we're not setting the boundaries up. And then thinking about hypnotherapy, tuning forks, energy work, things that can help you get back into balance and correct those negative beliefs that we have about ourselves, that we feel the need to put all these other people first and not putting ourselves first when we need to.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, for explaining things, Tina. And one more time, tell us the website, phone number, how we can find you.
Yes, website is rootsofhealing.org. And then my phone number is 920-277-6738.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back with more. And thank you for talking today about reclaiming power over our health. And it's time to start giving more self-care. I agree. Thank you. Have a great day. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.